Your Honor, can we skip the lecture? I have a spa appointment at 11. Monday, 10 a.m. Providence Municipal Court. Judge Frank Caprio looks up from his bench. Not at a defendant seeking mercy. At someone treating his courtroom like a service counter. Mrs. Ashford, this is a court of law, not a concierge desk. Victoria Ashford, 42, stands with her phone in hand. Designer sunglasses still perched on her head. She doesn't look worried. She looks annoyed. If you still believe respect belongs in court, hit subscribe on All Rise. The clerk clears her throat. Case 2025 TR 08847. Victoria Lynn Ashford. Charges: reckless driving through a school zone, destruction of citation, failure to appear on 2 prior summons. Victoria waves her hand dismissively. I'll just pay whatever the fine is. Can someone bring a card reader? 5 seconds pass. 7, 10. Judge Caprio leans forward. Mrs. Ashford, this court is not a payment portal. She blinks. Excuse me? You heard correctly. Sit down. Officer Maria Santos steps forward. Traffic Division. 12 years on the force. Your Honor, on October 14th at 8:04 a.m., I clocked the defendant at 52 miles per hour in a 20-mile-per-hour school zone. Victoria interrupts. That speed gun was probably broken. Judge Caprio raises one finger. Mrs. Ashford, you'll have your turn. Officer Santos, continue. When I activated my lights, she continued for 3 blocks before pulling over. I was looking for a clean spot, Victoria calls out. The judge's expression doesn't change. One more interruption and I'll add contempt to your charges. Silence. Officer Santos continues. When I approached, she refused to provide her license. She said, and I quote from my body cam audio, the officer glances at her notes. Do you know who I am? My husband donated the new gym to Riverside Elementary. Victoria shifts her weight. That's not what I meant. Judge Caprio writes something down. Officer Santos, what happened next? I explained the violation. She took the citation, tore it in half, and threw it out her window. The courtroom murmurs. Victoria's lawyer stands. Elliot Vance, pressed suit, calm demeanor. Your Honor, my client was having a difficult morning. She regrets her. Mr. Vance, your client failed to appear twice. That suggests a pattern, not a bad morning. The lawyer sits. Judge Caprio looks at Victoria. Mrs. Ashford, this is your 3rd traffic violation in 18 months. She shrugs. I paid the other 2. You did, but you didn't learn. The clerk approaches the bench with a folder. Your Honor, we have dash cam footage, body cam audio, and 2 certified summons confirmations showing personal delivery. Judge Caprio nods. Play the body cam audio from the traffic stop. The courtroom speakers crackle to life. Officer Santos, body cam audio. Ma'am, I need your license and registration. Victoria, body cam audio. This is ridiculous. Do you know who I am? Officer Santos. That's not relevant to... Victoria. My husband sits on the school board. He donated the new gym. You're making a mistake. Officer Santos. Ma'am, you were driving 52 in a 20 zone. Children cross here. Victoria. Then maybe parents should teach their kids to look both ways. The audio stops. The courtroom is silent. Judge Caprio removes his glasses. Mrs. Ashford, did you just suggest children are responsible for your reckless driving? She crosses her arms. I'm saying accidents happen when people don't pay attention. You're right. You didn't pay attention to the speed limit, to the officer, to 2 court summons. Victoria's face reddens. This is absurd. I'll pay the fine and we can all move on. Judge Caprio shakes his head slowly. No, we cannot. Your Honor, we have a witness on the phone. Martha Ellis, School crossing guard at Riverside Elementary. The judge nods. Put her through. The speakerphone clicks on. Ms. Ellis, this is Judge Caprio. Can you tell us what you witnessed on October 14th? A woman's voice, steady but emotional. Yes, Your Honor. I was at my post at 8:04 a.m. I had just walked 3 children into the crosswalk when a black SUV came around the corner. She pauses. It was going so fast. I pulled the kids back onto the curb. The car missed us by maybe 6 feet. Victoria mutters something under her breath. Judge Caprio's eyes narrow. Mrs. Ashford, do you have something to say? She looks up. I'm just saying she's exaggerating. I saw them. I had plenty of room. Ms. Ellis, on speaker. One of those children wet himself. He was so scared. He's 7 years old. The courtroom goes quiet. Judge Caprio writes another note. Ms. Ellis, thank you for your testimony. We'll be in touch. The line clicks off. Every crosswalk is a promise. Break it, and someone pays. The clerk hands Judge Caprio another document. Your Honor, we received 2 voicemails and 1 email from Ashford Development Group's Community Relations Office. Victoria's face goes pale. That wasn't me. Judge Caprio reads aloud. We hope this matter can be resolved quietly. The Ashford family has been generous to Providence. Perhaps a reduced charge would be appropriate. He looks up. Mrs. Ashford, did you authorize this contact? She hesitates. My husband handles those things. Your husband is not the defendant. You are. Judge Caprio folds the paper. Influence is acceptable in philanthropy, not in procedure. Victoria's lawyer stands again. Your Honor, my client's family has contributed significantly to... Mr. Vance, donations fund libraries. They don't fund leniency. If you believe donations should never buy privilege, subscribe to All Rise. The lawyer sits. Victoria finally shows emotion, anger. This is unbelievable. Do you know how much my family has given to this city? Judge Caprio's voice remains calm. I do, and I'm grateful for it. But generosity doesn't grant immunity. My husband knows the mayor personally. Then perhaps he can explain to the mayor why his wife endangered children. Victoria stands abruptly. You can't talk to me like this. Sit down, Mrs. Ashford. I will not be disrespected by some small-town judge. The bailiff steps forward. 5 seconds. 7, 10, 12. Those 12 seconds were the sound of power meeting principle. Judge Caprio's voice cuts through the silence. Mrs. Ashford, you have 1 chance to sit down voluntarily. She remains standing. Or what? You'll find me more money I don't care about? Or I'll hold you in contempt and you'll spend tonight in a cell. Her lawyer grabs her arm gently. Victoria, please. She finally sits. But her face shows no remorse, only rage. Judge Caprio opens the case file. Mrs. Ashford, let me summarize what this court has seen. You drove 32 miles per hour over the speed limit in a school zone. You nearly hit 3 children and their crossing guard. You destroyed an official citation. You ignored 2 court summons, and your family attempted to influence this proceeding. Victoria interrupts. We pay more in taxes than half this city combined. That may be true, but it's irrelevant to your conduct. It's completely relevant. People like me keep this city running. Judge Caprio removes his glasses. People like you? Successful people. Contributors, not people who leech off the system. The courtroom gasps. Her lawyer puts his head in his hands. Judge Caprio stands. Not in anger, in authority. Mrs. Ashford, I want you to listen very carefully. Your wealth built a gymnasium. That's admirable. But your character endangered children. That's inexcusable. You're punishing me for being successful. I'm holding you accountable for being reckless. Victoria points at him. You work for people like me. My taxes pay your salary. No, Mrs. Ashford. I work for justice, and justice doesn't have a price tag. She laughs bitterly. Justice? You mean your ego? Judge Caprio sits back down. His voice becomes quieter, more dangerous. Mrs. Ashford, you just made this much worse for yourself. Based on the evidence presented, dash cam footage, body cam audio, officer testimony, civilian witness account, and your own admissions, I find you guilty on all charges. Victoria's lawyer stands. Your Honor, my client is willing to pay the maximum fine and— Sit down, Mr. Vance. The lawyer complies. Judge Caprio continues. The base fine for your violations is $1,200. However, given the severity of the danger you created, your destruction of an official citation, your failure to appear twice, and your contempt shown in this courtroom, I'm increasing it to $2,500. Victoria gasps. You can't. I can. And I have. He's not finished. Additionally, you will complete 200 hours of community service, 100 hours with the Traffic Safety Coalition, 100 hours with the Accident Prevention Program. Her face goes white. I don't have time for that. You'll make time. Or you'll go to jail. Should every reckless driving case include community service? Tell us in the comments. Judge Caprio reads from his notes. You will also write formal apology letters to Officer Santos and Ms. Ellis. These letters will be reviewed by this court. If they show the same lack of remorse you've shown today, they'll be rejected. Victoria's hands shake. Furthermore, you will record a public service announcement about reckless driving and the dangers of entitlement. This PSA will be shown in every Providence public school. Her lawyer tries again. Your Honor, perhaps we could— I'm not finished. You will also complete a civic ethics module and submit a 1,500-word essay on the topic, The Difference Between Power and Responsibility. Victoria finally breaks. This is insane. You're humiliating me. Judge Caprio's voice remains steady. No, Mrs. Ashford, I'm educating you. He pauses. $1,000 of your fine is stayed, pending successful completion of all requirements. If you complete everything within 6 months, that portion will be remitted. Victoria slumps in her chair. I'll appeal this. That's your right. But I doubt an appeals court will be sympathetic to someone who called children a nuisance and told a judge she owns him through her taxes. Silence. Mrs. Ashford, do you understand your sentence? She doesn't answer. Mrs. Ashford? Finally, quietly. Yes. You have 30 days to begin your community service. You'll report to Ms. Reyes for scheduling. Failure to comply will result in immediate jail time. Are we clear? Yes, Your Honor. You're dismissed. Victoria Ashford left the courtroom that day in shock. She called her husband immediately. He was not sympathetic. You said what to a judge? 2 days later, she showed up for her first community service shift. Traffic Safety Coalition. 7:00 a.m. She was assigned to help install speed bumps in school zones. Week 1. Log entry. Defendant arrived 20 minutes late, complained about manual labor. Supervisor notes, zero awareness of why she's here. By week 3, something changed. Week 3. Log entry. Defendant now arrives on time, asked questions about traffic patterns, beginning to engage. The PSA recording took 5 attempts. Her first script was rejected. Your Honor, I made a mistake driving too fast. Judge Caprio sent it back with 1 note. This sounds like you're reading a parking ticket. Try again. The second attempt was worse. Sometimes we all drive a little fast. Rejected again. You're minimizing, not learning. On the 5th attempt, something shifted. Victoria sat in front of the camera and told the truth. My name is Victoria Ashford. I almost killed 3 children because I thought my time was more important than their lives. I was wrong. Speed limits exist for a reason, and no appointment, no matter how important it seems, is worth a child's life. That version was approved. Officer Santos received her letter first. She read it twice, then called the court. Your Honor, I don't know what happened to Mrs. Ashford, but this letter is real. She apologized for treating me like I didn't matter. She said she finally understands what we do every day. Martha Ellis received hers a week later. She read it to Judge Caprio over the phone. Dear Ms. Ellis, I remember their faces now. The 3 children in the crosswalk. One had a blue backpack, one wore glasses. The smallest one had a dinosaur shirt. I almost took them from their families because I was in a hurry. I'm sorry doesn't feel like enough, but it's where I have to start. I've learned their names now. Lucas, Emma, and Ryan. I think about them every time I drive past a school. Martha's voice cracked. Your Honor, she remembered their names. Judge Caprio made another note in his file. Week 12. Log entry. Defendant completed traffic safety hours. Supervisor report, genuinely engaged, stayed extra hours to finish crosswalk project. Week 18. Log entry. Defendant completed accident prevention program. Coordinator notes, she asked if she could continue volunteering after her sentence ends. Monday, 10:00 a.m. Providence Municipal Court, 6 months later. Victoria Ashford stands before Judge Caprio again. This time, she's different. No phone, no sunglasses, no attitude. Mrs. Ashford, you've completed all requirements of your sentence. Your essay on power and responsibility was thoughtful and honest. Your PSA is now showing in 12 schools. Your community service supervisors gave glowing reports. She nods quietly. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to remit the $1,000 stayed portion of your fine. You've earned it. Thank you. Judge Caprio leans forward. What did you learn? Victoria takes a breath. I learned that I confused success with superiority. I thought because I'd built things, I was more important than other people. I thought speed limits and rules were suggestions for people with less to do. She pauses. I was wrong, and I'm grateful no one was hurt because of my arrogance. Judge Caprio nods. Mrs. Ashford, 6 months ago you told me your taxes paid my salary. Do you remember that? I do, and I'm ashamed of it. Don't be ashamed. Be different. He closes the file. You're dismissed. And for what it's worth, I'm proud of the work you did. Victoria's eyes well up. Thank you, Your Honor. That means more than you know. If you still believe justice should be earned, not bought, subscribe to All Rise. 3 months after Victoria's sentence ended, Providence adopted a new policy, the Donor Influence Firewall. All communication from major donors regarding pending cases must be logged publicly and forwarded to an ethics board. No exceptions. School zone cameras were installed at 15 additional locations. Speed-related incidents dropped 34% in the first year. Victoria Ashford continued volunteering with the Traffic Safety Coalition. She now leads workshops on distracted driving. Her husband's company funded the new camera system. But this time, there were no requests for special treatment. Just a quiet donation with a note. For the children, we almost lost. Officer Santos still patrols school zones. She waves when she sees Victoria at crosswalk installations. Martha Ellis received a framed photo. Victoria standing with Lucas, Emma, and Ryan at a school safety assembly. The caption, "The children who taught me what matters." Judge Caprio keeps Victoria's essay in his desk. He reads it to defendants who think their money makes them untouchable. One paragraph stands out. I came into that courtroom believing I was too important to be accountable. I left understanding that accountability is what makes you important. Judge Caprio didn't punish me. He redirected me. and that redirection may have saved my life, or someone else's. Authority is not for sale. It is for service. Privilege is not a shield. It's a responsibility. Victoria Ashford came to court with a last name and left with a lesson. She arrived believing donations bought immunity. She departed understanding that integrity has no price tag. Judge Frank Caprio proved once again that justice doesn't shout. It speaks calmly, firmly, finally, and it never, ever bends to wealth. Judge Caprio's final words, spoken softly as Victoria left his courtroom for the last time. Remember this, Mrs. Ashford. Power without discipline is danger, but power with purpose can change lives. She stopped at the door, turned back. I'll remember, Your Honor. And she did. Dramatization for storytelling and education, not legal advice or reporting.